Good afternoon. It is your man Nico Bean with this theme with another one of those things. And today we are going to be talking about your boy Nate Moore. Let's get on in. So the brother come out via the direct and has officially addressed once again the recast the child movement. In this, I'm gonna start with this. Okay, hold up, it's right here. In the latest issue of Total Magazine, Marvel Studios VP of Production and Development Nate Moore spoke about the decision to not recast the role of T'Challa ahead of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. He admitted that it was a difficult decision, but in the end, it was one that everybody in the studio trusted as the path was illuminated. And this is his words, and I quote: I don't know if anything about it was an easy decision, but it was a decision that, once made, we all believed in, and it led us on the path forward. Moore couldn't see a way to tell another young actor that he was playing T'Challa in the MCU, even being very aware of the talkback regarding the choice. But it was a call that he couldn't make, although he made it clear that the calls for the role to be recast are fair. And this is his quote: I cannot imagine turning to the best young actor in the world who wasn't Chadwick and being like, okay, so you're T'Challa. I could not, and I cannot imagine that. I really couldn't. Other people will have a different answer to that question, and we're very aware of the talkback and how people feel. And I think all of that, to be quite honest, is fair. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. I can just say, after being in it, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get there. Moore looked back on plenty of conversations that the leadership had, and which included a lot of tears. They all wanted to make the right decision so that they could still make the movie in the way it needed to be told. Bozeman passed yada yada away at 43. Incredible career, Son as Workers, MCU. His last film was Mountain Range Black Bottom. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige expressed how shocking it was to hear about Boseman's death, just as it was for the rest of the world, with the main focus being on processing the loss of somebody so close to the MCU family. Okay, obviously it was a shock to us all, and this is Nate Moore's quote. Once again, I quote: Obviously it was a shock to us all, the way it was to the world. We found out when the world found out. And for a long time, the focus was just on that, on processing the loss of a colleague and a friend, and an important creative partner for us. Black Panther 2 had been in the works long before Boseman's death, after becoming the MCU's highest grossing solo movie to date. Yada yada. And so, I believe this is another quote. There was an early draft. Ryan Coogler, director slash co-writer, had written the draft and had conversations with Chad about it. Okay. So, in this article with the director, it says the main focus for Black Panther 2 after processing the loss of Boseman was keeping the positivity and the hope and the vision of Wakanda. As the story continued to develop, director Ryan Coogler was able to bring that positivity to life for every single person going to see the movie after Boseman's death, which became the first building block for Coogler's next version of the story. I'm not about to read all this. Okay, so um, first I would like to say like, share, subscribe. Please give me some feedback. Tell me what I'm doing. If I'm doing anything wrong, please let me know. Give me some feedback. If you know me, growing me, sharing is caring. And give me some critique. I like being able to hear feedback. But so my mind comes to this. Nate Moore, he's the executive producer, and I do believe in the hierarchy of power that goes on at Marvel Studios. I believe Nate Moore, and there's a female that is also under Kevin Feige that I think is on the same level as Nate Moore. When it comes to Black Panther, I'm gonna give you a breakdown of what I know to be true from what we've seen in the past and how Nate Moore was one. He was the one who advocated strongly for T'Challa to be introduced in the MCU, and that came to fruition through 2016 when Chadwick Boseman was casted as Prince T'Challa. And we all know he's going to become king. And to be honest, he became king pretty quick. His father was killed in 2016's Captain America Civil War via Zemo and the bomb that framed Bucky Barnes. Then we have the situation where I believe that, after 2016, we went into we jumped forward to 2018 when T'Challa is coming back from Civil War. This is the movie, but it's set right after Civil War, and so he's coming back wearing the Civil War suit, and he's being in the process of going through the trials to become king. Becomes king, dies in his own movie. Well, not dies, but put in a comatose state once he faced Killmonger. Once his cousin came back, well, Killmonger's cousin. Well, T'Challa was the cousin of Killmonger, and T'Chaka, his father, a younger T'Chaka, killed Killmonger's father in Jobu, which is not really his uncle. But so we have that. But getting back to what Nate Moore was saying, so we have Nate Moore. He has said that there's going to be a new Black Panther, but it's not going to be another T'Challa. And it's kind of like my last video said, hypocrisy is rearing its head. You recast Thunderbolt Ross, and not only does Nate Moore sign off on not recasting T'Challa, the director does it as well, Ryan Coogler. And I'm one of those young brothers that if I was to meet them, I would not only have some choice words, but I would try to encourage them to do the right thing. Because they all have seen Urban Faith's interview with Derek Boseman. And they are just playing into the narrative when you don't have to. You have a choice to do the right thing and you're choosing wrong. But back to what I was saying. Nate Moore has a history of snitching on himself. And I'm going off with Theo Butler. Shout out Theo Butler. I keep up with him left and right. But he has a track record of telling on himself. Usually you wouldn't do it in these type of situations, but you're doing it anyway. First you say that we're not going to see T'Challa in 616, solidifying what you're saying, that you're standing on the premise of not recasting the historic black role of T'Challa. Then, later on, in another one, when we're still telling you to recast, you blatantly tell us to our face, oh, well, we're not going to recast, but you can have your own opinion. You can feel how you want to feel. We only know how to tell the story that we know how to tell. That in itself is just a smack in the face, telling us that you don't want to do the right thing, period. And so that's one thing. Then now, with Total Film Magazine, you have said that, I'm sorry, what do you say? He said a whole bunch of things in here. But the gist of the situation is, you're saying that you and Ryan Coogler sat down, had in minutes, you said that you weren't going to recast. It was a quick decision, meaning that you did not want to put in the legwork or try to find an actor that probably looked up to Chadwick Boseman as a role model while they're in the industry as young black actors starting their careers, and you were trying to have someone not be measured up to it, but put their spin on playing the role of T'Challa. And like I said in my last video, you have two actors, Yolanda Noel and a Ugandan actor. I can't remember the name, but you have options where you can do it. You have people over in DC that probably would like to take up the role, but they're too busy with DC. You have yeah. But getting back to what Nate Moore, the topic of discussion, Nate Moore has said that the controversy of recast T'Challa, where he said, "I cannot imagine turning to the best young actor." There's a whole bunch of best young actors out there, and you're telling me you can't imagine him saying, "Hey, I know you've seen Chadwick Boseman lay the foundation for this role to be carried on with the next actor. You're younger than Chadwick Boseman. I'm pretty sure you could do a good job playing this role of a superhero, a fictional superhero." We've had multiple James Bonds, multiple Spider-Man, multiple Batman, multiple Superman. And you're telling me that you cannot imagine seeing another young brother play T'Challa? Are you serious? It's not even a situation where it's just mind-boggling. The fact that you said this in an interview, and I'm pretty sure a whole bunch of people that you say went along with the decision to lead on with this movie to say, "Hey, we don't want to recast T'Challa," even though that's detrimental to the whole entire story that you're trying to tell. Because Phase 4 is nothing short of just crazy. Nothing fits together. It doesn't. Everything from Phase 1 through 3, it fits pretty well. The Infinity Saga was good, but this whole entire multiverse saga, it's not gonna do well. You're supposed to be doing Secret Wars down the road a couple years from now. Yeah, I understand that you have multiverse. You have Multiverse of Madness where you screwed up Doctor Strange and the Illuminati. You screwed that up completely. You made Black Bolt look weak. You made a whole bunch of characters die off pretty quickly. Even though you had a game that says that other versions are not as strong as the main 616 versions. And now I'm talking about Marvel Strike Force. But that's just a mobile game. But that's another topic of discussion. Basically what I'm saying is this. You're coming down to a point where there's going to be a day of reckoning. And Nate Moore, you're going to be the first one to answer for what you've done. But your boss, Kevin Feige, is going to probably take the blunt force of it. Because he came out on Investors Day saying, we're not going to recast the role of T'Challa. But then he revert back to what you and Ryan Coogler talked about. And you're saying, okay, we sat down. We said that even though we were in pre-production, and this movie was not asked for. And you guys know you're forcing this. You're forcing this on not only black children, which this is mainly to be for. You're telling us that we're going to take out the only role model that black children can look up to for seeing specifically black boys. And you're saying we're just going to take that character away and they're just going to have to look up to females. Which, in this day and age, I don't want to say there's not a lot of black boys raised in two-parent households, because it is a grim reality where the father is not in the picture. But this movie, this character in and of itself, the character and the nation in and of itself was created to go against those stereotypes. It was created to be not really a perfect sense of reality, but you had the whole entire black family structure well put together, and it's royalty. Like, really, what royalty do you know does not have a king and its queen? And y'all just bought X-Men from Fox, And you're telling me you're gonna stick with telling a story where T'Challa has a son and T'Challa's dead and the son is basically a bastard. He only has his mother. And he grows up not knowing about his father. He grows up from the stories that people tell him about his father, and then he has to bring the weight of the crown when he gets of age, and that's going to take another 20 plus years for him to carry on the mantle and be king. If you decide to go with that, which I'm pretty sure if you do that in this movie, you're gonna have people go that do not look at this news, but once they put two and two together, they're gonna be like, why did I just pay for this? Why did I just pay to basically see power where my father is either killed or in jail? Like really, you just it's just lazy. You have one of the most influential jobs of being an executive producer for a movie that you know is going to speak volumes to the black community. And you guys did your job well in 2018 when you released this movie during Black History Month. I give you your props for that. But you're doing this off of emotions. And like I said in my previous video, you guys are going to pay for it because it's not going to be pretty. But that's my spiel, y'all. Please like, share, subscribe. Hit me up. Love y'all, and see y'all in the next one.